When you're meeting the media, you have to go over your messaging. I don't know if that's a lost art, but some of the quotes that came out from some of the baseball people yesterday indicate to me that after the deadline, they picked up the phone, spoke to the media, and said the first thing that came to their head because it was idiocy. And frankly, as a fan, it was scary. As someone who does nothing personal, it was heavenly. Let's start with the Boston Red Sox. Complicated situation because they had traded Devers and told you they're going to add. This is about winning now. They're all about it. This is not for later. And they're doing victory laps because the Giants went from buyers of Devers to sellers yesterday. You're welcome, Giants. That's what Yankee fans are saying today. Craig Breslow did, in fact, buy, and it was a major trade deadline win for the Boston Red Sox by acquiring Dustin May from the Dodgers and Steven Matz from the Cardinals. I can't even say. I'm not saying it with a straight face, Coca. I'm not doing it. If people are listening to this, they won't understand the sarcasm. They'll think that I think that acquiring Dustin May and Steven Matz was a victory for the Red Sox. And if you're watching on YouTube, then maybe you can't even see the eye roll if your screen is too small. Not the best deadline in the world for the Red Sox. Now the Red Sox are coming off a 17-7 July. They're HOTTT. They like their team. I told you it was addition by subtraction to get rid of Devers. However, don't pee on my leg and tell me it's raining. Or give me this explanation. Craig Breslow. I understand the frustration and disappointment. There's not a lot of sympathy for how hard we tried to get deals across the line. Breslow said the Red Sox were, quote, uncomfortably aggressive. Other teams needed to say, hey, that's enough. Timeout. I need a 20-second timeout to try to remain composed. 18 trade deadlines I went through. 29 teams per deadline because you speak to all 29. 290 minus 58. 232. Not one time did another team say, hey, David, Larry, Mike, I'm telling you, that's enough. Stop calling me with these crazy trades. You're being way too aggressive. Don't ever call me. Click. It's a bunch of horse hockey. No team says that to another team. Hey, thanks so much, but we can't even talk about that. Now, you'll say that some players are more likely to be traded than others. You will say, oh, yeah, we wouldn't think about that. A million times you say to another team, yeah, that's too much. We're not going to give that much. We don't want that guy that badly. Or we're not going that direction for sure. But hey, that's enough. And let's not oversell uncomfortably aggressive. Why don't we reserve that for what it really should mean when it comes to two people together when one is being uncomfortably aggressive and it becomes a crime, as it should? I'm not a big fan of using words like, oh, we murdered them tonight. It was an all-out war out there. I don't like talking like that when those words mean other things. I don't associate uncomfortably aggressive with a trade deadline point of view. What does that mean? Does that mean that the Red Sox called up, just pick a team, did they call up the Marlins and say, yeah, we're looking for starting pitching. We'd like Sandy. Oh, Sandy's not available. We'd like Sandy. We don't think so. We'd like Sandy. No, I don't think we're going the other way. We'd like Sandy. Is that what they did? Now, you can be uncomfortably annoying, and I'm in if he had described the Red Sox as that. You can be uncomfortably awkward. But here's what you can't be: uncomfortably aggressive and then give a quote that says, over the past 2 to 3 weeks, this is a quote. Did they workshop this? Over the last 2 to 3 weeks, it became clear that all 26 guys on our roster were contributing to what we were doing, and we weren't willing to take a hit to our major league team. Sorry, I'm very emotional about that because we finally have found it. The perfect team. It's the Bronx Bombers of the 20s, the 30s, the 40s, the 50s. It's the Warriors. It's the Bulls of the 90s. It's the perfect team. I didn't know whether or not you realized that in Boston, that you had the perfect team. What an amazing thing. I would love it when you go into your boss's office and say, hey, appreciate the evaluation, but I'm pretty perfect here. There's not one thing I can do better. Thanks for seeing me. I expect to get 5s on the review and double my salary, and I wouldn't mind a promotion to the C-suite because I'm perfect. Young man, you've got a big pimple right on the edge of your nose. Yeah, but ignore that. Other than that, I'm perfect. Ridiculous. The best 26 guys. Nobody has that. Between that and Preller telling you, you're only as good as your weakest link and you can't win a championship with a weak link, take a look at the World Series rosters of the past 25 years. Just for me. Just for fun. Take a look at the World Series rosters. Oh, I haven't heard of that guy. Nah, he's not a weak link. Don't worry, Cubs fans. It's a safe space. You're right in there with the Brew Crew. Craig Counsell's going to get it done. Your newly extended president of baseball ops, he is on it. Jed Hoyer had to talk after the trade deadline where people were despondent beyond repair, and boy, did he ever. He was asked, hey, what message would you give given that you weren't that aggressive and other teams were? And he said, quote, our biggest focus wasn't trading that prospect capital in the bullpen. If we were going to do that, it was in the rotation. That's what I would say. Really? Here's what I would say. The prospects are there to be traded. Bullpen or starting pitching has to be improved if you're going to win in October. If you can't get a starter, you pivot to a bullpen. If you can't get a bullpen, you pivot to a starter and hope that you chose the right one. Maybe Nasty Nestor is the perfect starting candidate. Maybe even Shane Justin Bieber is the perfect mid-range starting candidate to improve your team. But when you do nothing and you say, we're good here, we were only going to trade prospects for starters, not bullpen, you look at other teams and say, would we have liked Robert Suarez from the Padres had he been available? What about Duran from the Twins? He's pretty good. Don't even get me started with Helsley. How about the fact that you could have gotten Rogers from the Giants? There were myriad bullpen opportunities out there. Here's how it works, Jed, in case you forgot. The lower the quality of the return, the lower the quality of the prospect that you have to give. You can't possibly tell me that every one of your prospects is so untouchable. What are you, the delusion king? Come on, you know better, Jed. You're better than that. But don't worry, we learned what the Cubs' goal is. The goal is to be good every year. He actually said that. That couldn't have been workshopped. Hallelujah. The Cubs' goal is to be good every year. Harry Carey is smiling, thanking God that their goal is to be good every year. The goal is not to have massive up and down cycles. Was that a little shot at the Red Sox? Was that a little shot at the Marlins, who would win a World Series or not make the playoffs, win a World Series, not make the playoffs? Was it a head nod to the Boston Red Sox? Couldn't be that. Maybe the San Francisco Giants, who won 3 in 5 years, or the Astros? Except, wait a minute. That can't be true that that's the Cubs' goal. It was only 10 years ago that they were just coming off of multiple 100-loss years that led them and helped them win the World Series in 2016. Every team is going to have up and down cycles. You're not the Dodgers. They're on the biggest upcycle ever, and it's lasted forever. The Yankees upcycle, finishing over 500. What is it, Coca? This entire century? Those are pretty good upcycles, but the Yankees have had down ones too. Stop it. Just stop it. Here's another idea. If you're about to lose 120 games for the second year in a row, and you're the GM, Chris Getz of the Chicago White Sox, and your team stinks, and you're practicing what to say to the media, I've got an idea for you. Don't say this. In the last year and a half as general manager, I've never been more excited to come to the ballpark. I'm sorry? What do you mean? You mean your first day as general manager wasn't super exciting after they'd fired everyone and promoted you because they wanted to stay internally? Because what Jerry Reinsdorf said is, hey, we need someone who knows the system. We don't have multiple years to waste. And now, multiple years later, you're still there, obviously very comfortable. You know the organization. And today, this is the day you're the most excited about? This is a candidate for the horse hockey quote of the year, especially when you hear what he's excited about is they didn't trade Lewis Robert. What? You've got team options on him for $20 million over the next 2 years. He's done nothing but help your team hit record losses, injuries galore, lack of performance, and you're saying we really value having Robert being part of this? Part of what? You're going to pay him $20 million in the club auction next year instead of a $2 million buyout? That's shameful. It can't be. No matter what your payroll is. At a $300 million payroll, you're not allocating $20 million to Robert. Oh, it's very seductive to have that kind of talent. Not when you've been in the league this long. All the seduction goes away. It's like being married for 20 years. Oh, we can try. We can play games, maybe wear some costumes. But man, oh man, this looks familiar. You know what you have. What is the excuse the White Sox have for not trading him? If someone had offered you 10 baseballs, one pitching machine, and a lower level non-prospect who has zero chance of being in the big leagues, you make the trade. There is no reason to continue the definition of insanity and do the same thing over and over. Time to move on. Best day ever. Best day ever. I think the best day ever is when you're winning or have a chance not to lose over a hundo. But there's something about GMs these days, Coca. I can't figure out what it is for my life. The Anaheim Angels of Los Angeles have this guy named Perry Manassian. Good guy. You've heard of him. The Angels, as you know, pound for pound, the most successful franchise over the last 10 years, without a doubt. Mike Trout, Hall of Famer, MVP, has as many playoff wins as Coca. The Anaheim Angels have been an abject disaster. But they had Ohtani for one stretch of period, didn't even make the playoffs. Ohtani was a free agent leaving LA, no doubt about it, to go to the Dodgers. And instead of selling because they had no chance and they were out of the race, they bought. Do you remember what they did when they bought and then they sold? Because they bought early, realized, wait a minute, we still stink, and then sold? Except this year, it's totally different. The Angels, with Ron Washington, who's no longer managing for health reasons, hope he does and improves and gets better. The Angels are right in the race. The Angels have an opportunity to do something that Mike Trout has not done, has not been able to do. Let me tell you how close they are. The Anaheim Angels are only 4.5 games back. They're 53 and 56. All they have to do to make the playoffs, and this is it, it's very easy. They have to pass Tampa, they have to pass Kansas City, they have to pass Cleveland, and they have to pass Texas, and then they have to pass Seattle. That's it. I don't have the playoff odds in front of me, but you can bet your sweet bipsters that the Anaheim Angels playoff odds are probably hovering in the 3 to 5% range. They're not going to make it. Why not make moves? So here's what Perry said. To play, and this is a quote, I kid you not. To play the kind of baseball we played, to experience the environment and what it was like pre-game, the emotion post-game after some of those wins, even after some of those losses, is great for our young players to go through. I know you can't quantify it, but anybody that's been in that locker room for a significant period of time, our group is pretty solid, and it's getting better by the day. It's a tight-knit group, tightest knit group I've been around since I've been here. Giving that group a chance to play this thing out over the last 2 months relative to what was presented made a lot of sense. To me, being competitive in August, being competitive in September, I think is very, very important. Playing meaningful games in August is very, very important, not only for the now, but for our future, especially for our young players. If you are the owner of the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, Artie Moreno, and you read that quote or approve that quote or were in any way part of the conversation that would lead to that quote, I've got a news flash for you. Good vibes are amazing when you're at a beach party. Good vibes are fun when you're on a date or when you're out with your friends. Good vibes in a clubhouse? Try winning. Winning is what leads to a good clubhouse. It doesn't matter if the players get along, doesn't matter if the players don't get along. You can have 25 guys and 26 taxis and win a World Series. You could have guys who pull for each other in no other way but on the field, and off the field, it's an abject disaster of a group of players put together who would not literally share a meal together. You can have a team where you've got one person at each table in the clubhouse kitchen. You can have a team where in the clubhouse, everyone's got headphones on. There's no clubhouse music whatsoever. You can have a team where people shower in silence. And you can have a team that wins 100 games and wins a World Series. The problem I have with me looking at what the Angels were trying to do to you is it flies in the face of what drives me crazy, the line. It is not established by any baseball person that, hey, the best way to get young players to perform at their best is you keep that group together and you just keep going. Your job is to make your team better. Your job is to recognize when you're in it, when you're not in it, and to make the adjustments that everybody would make in that position. Now, if the owner, Artie Moreno, as he's apt to do, called up Perry and said, we're not taken away from this team. I'm getting older. I'm trying to sell this team. Let's get into the playoffs. Let's add some value. Let's go. Let's go. And then you can't say that I was involved, Perry. So what I want you to say is that we didn't sell because you like the vibes in the clubhouse.